Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
I got to tell you, you look beautiful today in this dress that's very casual, and I'm clearly wearing a swim shirt.
Yes, you are. It's Casual Friday on a different day, not Friday. It is what it is, man.
That's exactly right.
We were out on the paddle boards this morning, decided, hey, we got to go into the office, get some work done. You're going to play disc golf.
Right after this.
Yep. So clearly we're recording this on our day off.
It's Sunday today in real life.
It is.
When you listen to it is up to you, but when we're doing it, it's Sunday, the 23rd of June.
Yep.
June 23rd.
We're going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to go to an open house this afternoon while you're playing disc golf.
Oh, that open house?
By our house.
Yeah, at the yacht club right there.
Yeah.
I'm sad about that. That's from 2 to 4. Maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll make it at 3.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Coolio.
I do want to see it.
All right. Well, what's going on with you, David Austin?
Well, you know, it's been a busy last 3 weeks. I mean, the minute we think we can take our foot off the gas,
right,
we got to shove it back down again so nobody passes us, right? Yeah. And it's been very busy. It was fun during our sales meeting pre-paddleboarding this morning. We were talking about our pipeline and how...
And just to explain, the sales meeting that David is talking about is when we get up in the morning and have coffee.
That's exactly right. Every day. We are the only sales team in anywhere that I know of that has a pipeline meeting at 6 a.m. every day. It's a true thing.
Yeah.
So somebody said to me the other day, talking about how we take our foot off the gas and then we get working again. Somebody said to me the other day, it seems like you're off a lot. And I said, I'm never off. What do you mean it seems like I'm off? Well, you're not in the office a lot. Well, that's absolutely true because I'm out trying to make things happen.
Yeah, which office, though, were they talking about?
The lending office.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in there thinks I'm taking time off. And they don't really think that. They know what I do. But to the untrained eye, it looks like I'm not around a ton.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I answer my phone if it rings all the time, nonstop. We were on the paddle boards Friday in the afternoon, and we got an inspection in our email. So we were even working on the Columbia River.
Yeah, got an inspection. Also took a couple of calls. So we've been working like crazy because that's kind of how real estate is, right? You're like, I mean, it's all day, every day. And then all of a sudden, we've got all of our transactions are kind of in that kind of waiting period.
Yeah, they're in process.
And so now we're like through most everything and we just wait. Right? So we finally, Friday afternoon, when I left the office, I said, I'm getting on my paddleboard. Don't call me.
Sure.
I'm out of here. It's been a long couple of weeks, taking some time. Well, then we were delayed getting on the boards because you had to take a work call.
Right.
So we finally get the boards. We head down to the river. Then I had to take a work call, which I then passed over to you because it was a real estate call, but then they had lending questions. So I passed it over to you. And then I stood around pouting while you answered all their questions. And then we finally get on the boat, the paddle boards.
Which
we get
I
down
guess
the
is
river.
some kind of mode of conveyance on the water.
Get
so
down
kind
the
of
river.
boat-like.
And yeah, so I put my phone away in the dry bag and said, that's it. I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at it. I'm not listening to it.
And then
again.
we got the inspection and back at it again.
After we got off the water.
Right. Crazy.
And now we're like, we got to get some more stuff in the pipeline because everybody's in that, okay, we got everything through that initial kind of whirlwind that happens when you first get something under contract. And now we're like, woo, sailing. We got to get some more. So point being, we have time and space for you.
That's true. That's true. And that's what I was getting at when we were having our pipeline meeting this morning, having our coffee, sitting on the patio before we went paddleboarding. We discussed that, everything that we have is now in process, moving toward closing. Mm-hmm. So we need to add to the funnel.
Yeah.
It's an interesting mindset. And a lot of people in the sales process, and this is why I wanted to talk about it, really do live feast or famine.
Sure.
And so they put all their energy into getting business into the pipeline. Then they manage the business once it's in the pipeline while not going to get new business while the pipeline is kind of
Which is why a very common thing for both realtors and lenders is to have their production do this.
Right.
The roller coaster production.
Yeah. And that's terrible.
The worm,
and
as
that's,
it were.
And that's what we need to work on, right now. We need to put more in the funnel so that when we make good money in July, we're not broke in August.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now, that's not a thing that's going to happen with us because we are both not spenders.
Right.
So,
and we're pretty consistent.
Correct. Yes. So that's what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Being consistent in your sales process.
Okay.
Not putting your foot on the gas, letting up off the gas when you think you've got enough money in the bank, then putting your foot on the gas again. How do you keep it at a nice, even pace?
Systems.
Right. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
On the session with Londa and David. Right now.
Okay. You do the work.
Okay.
Of the work.
Right.
Every day.
Right. So it reminds me of what someone was saying. I don't know if it was a real person that we were talking to or if it was a video that we were watching or if it was, I know what it was now. It was Matt Ishbia with United Wholesale Mortgage during one of the Wednesday morning sales huddles. He was talking about he would rather give people praise for putting in the work, not for the work results. He praises people who are doing the work,
right?
Not people who are reaping the benefit, because if you do the work consistently, the benefit comes.
Right.
Why are we patting you on the back for the benefit? We should pat you on the back for the effort.
Both, I'd suggest.
Well, the paycheck is the reward for the
not for every personality,
for the close,
not
right?
For everyone.
I think celebrating your effort is more valuable than celebrating your results, because if you're married to the results, if they don't come, you're going to feel really, really bad. But if you're always putting the work in, then you will consistently feel good about what you're doing.
Right. Systems save your life.
Okay.
I say it all the time. And the way that you are successful in sales is to implement systems.
Right.
You show up to work every day and you do the things that create momentum and success.
I gotcha.
Make the calls.
Okay.
Send the notes.
Sure.
Do the whatever your part of the work is. For us, it's like real estate reviews, equity updates, CMAs, open houses. You do the work, right? And if you show up every day and you do some every day, you'll have some results every day in the future.
Right.
If you show up every day and you do a little every day, you'll have a little results in the future. And if you show up and do a lot every day, you'll have a lot of results in the future. And whether you want a little or a lot is up to you.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a little.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Success is self-defined.
I was coaching a loan officer. I'm going to say it was 10 years ago now. And I sat down with him, and his branch manager wanted me to talk to him about his process and helping him to plan his future income. And I like to reverse engineer that, as we've discussed. If I know how much money you want to make and I know what your average ticket is, then I need to know, I need to see, I can see how many deals you have to do to make that number, right?
Right. Well, and I reverse engineer it further into how many contacts you need to make every day. To get there. Yeah.
And that works. And so if you know your pull-through ratio and all that stuff.
And you should if you track your numbers.
Yes, and you should track your numbers. So I sat down with this guy, and I wanted to get out of the conversation as quickly as possible because he said, man, if I could just make $60,000, it'd be a dream come true. And in this industry, mortgage specifically, you should easily be able to make $60,000 in a year. I mean, with minimal, super part-time effort, right? And that's just like running into people at the grocery store, talking. You can do $60,000 a year. I was disappointed because I wanted him to say, I want to make $150,000, and then I could show him exactly how to do it. But I shouldn't have been disappointed because he didn't want more.
Yeah.
He wanted to live an easy life and make the money that was satisfactory.
Right.
And I don't know why at that point in my life, actually I do because my life was very expensive then, it was disappointing to me that he didn't want more. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's a shallow view, I think.
Well, it's narrow maybe. And the reality is that when you're coaching someone, as I've done for 22 years now, that's a long time. When you're coaching someone, you can't have any expectations yourself. Your opinions, your thoughts really don't matter. The whole job of coaching is to ask the right questions to help whoever you're coaching to come to their own understanding, their own realizations, their own epiphanies, their own answers, their own objectives. They really solve their own problem. A good coach helps you solve your own problem.
Right.
Right? Because otherwise, I've seen different coaching in real estate and other industries where somebody who calls themselves a coach, maybe even has some training, just tells people what to do.
Right. And that's never any good.
Do this, and this. You know, there's some, excuse me, there's some value to that. I teach people systems.
Right.
But this is why I teach people systems and say, do this, right? Because what they're doing isn't working.
Right.
Your words, your system, your process is not working. Here's a system and a process with words to say that does work.
Yeah.
If your words are working, we're just going to tweak your words. And I've done that with different people. But if they're not, then here's where we're going to start.
Right.
And let's build from there. But I'm very much about tailoring the coaching to the human in front of me.
Sure.
You have to think about their personality, their learning style, their lifestyle, their family dynamics, their goals. You got to look at all of it. I was just coaching with someone last week, another realtor, and he said to me, I think you gave me some homework last week. Do you remember what that was? I said, no, I gave it to you. I gave you the homework.
Right.
Once I give it to you, you are responsible for it.
Sure. Yeah.
He said, don't you take notes? I said, no, I don't take notes. You're the one who's supposed to take notes.
Right.
I'm the expert in this relationship.
Right.
If you want what I have, take notes. And then he said to me, I'm not good at that. I don't really remember stuff very well. And I said, actually, that's really helpful because now going forward, when I coach him, I know I either need to have him record our sessions to listen back to later or make sure he's taking notes, and I can stop him and say, write that down.
Yeah. And he will. The people that you coach are very receptive to your stuff.
That's thinking about his personality and his thing. Sure. And I can adjust a little bit. I can adjust, let's make sure he's not missing anything.
Right.
I'm not going to adjust fully because I'm just true to who I am. I had somebody ask me if I'd send a recap after every session to them. After every coaching appointment, can you just kind of recap everything we talked about and email it to me? No. Mm-mm. No.
But you know what you could do? You could coach people here in the studio and then record it, and then they can have it. They can have the video of it.
And I used to record my sessions, and for me, because of the system that I was using at the time, it was a lot of work. It felt like a lot of work. It probably wasn't. It was like Zoom recorded and I'd send them the recording. And what I found is they often do not refer back to it.
I gotcha. Yeah. And when you're in a heightened environment like this, you're not as dialed into the information as when you're not. And here's what I mean by that. When you and I do this program, the minute we turn it off, don't remember anything we talked about. When I put it in the system to put it on YouTube, I see what we talked about. It's just like when I get done with a radio show and one of my listeners calls me up and says, "Hey, David, do you remember when you were talking about blah, 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 blah?" No, I do not. You know what I mean? Because you're in a different space. You're not.
I'm often do that when I'm presenting.
Right.
And then I don't remember what I was presenting. And
right.
I also have a lot of grace for people because I want people to have a lot of grace for me.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? It's like, I don't remember what we talked about either.
Well, and that's the thing. Systems, though, save you. For instance, the reason that person wanted you to do a recap is because when you do your very first meeting with people, you do a recap because it's part of your system. The first meeting, you do the recap so they see the value in what that coaching session was.
Right.
And that's before they sign up for your services, right? That's a one-off kind of once and done.
It's kind of the informal chat, right?
Correct.
It's the let's sit down, let me show you what I can do for you. You talk to me about what you're looking for, and let's see if this is going to be a good fit or not. Right. Because sometimes it's not.
Right. And so when you do that recap, I think that's what trained that person to know you can do that, but that's a different thing. That's an interview style. That's not a coaching session.
Right, and the recap is really just an email with an invitation and a contract attached.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's just me.
Right.
I've never, ever asked a coach to do the work for me.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of sales trainings over the last 30, now close to 35 years.
Yeah.
And I paid a lot of money for a lot of coaches.
Sure.
I've never, ever asked them to do the work.
Hey, by the way, can you send me all that?
Let me tell you what you do when you're sitting in front of somebody. Whether it's a presentation, a coaching session, whatever, a sales meeting, I don't care what it is. You sit up, you lean forward, you take notes like your life depends on it. You dial in. I don't understand people, and it is a personal frustration of mine because I do present a lot.
Sure.
I don't understand people who are, dicking around on their phone or their laptop.
That makes me furious.
The laptop, we've got a laptop out when you're supposed to be listening to a presenter giving information.
Right.
I mean, maybe they're taking notes, but generally, see, the problem is if one of us, for example, I do a lot of team teaching, right?
Right.
So I'm in the front of the room, then I'm back and somebody else is in the front of the room. So I see from the back of the room.
Sure.
And they're not taking notes.
Right. Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. That makes me nuts.
Invest in yourself.
When you're at some kind of class, a seminar, a symposium, anything like that, I personally want to be as involved as I can be. And here's what I mean. I pretend I'm having a one-on-one conversation with the presenter.
Yeah.
And that way it becomes something that I know forever. Like somebody told me a secret. Hey, Londa, we stabbed a guy in 1982 and put his body out in Bruley. You know what I mean? Somebody says that to you, you're going to remember that forever.
Right.
It's the same. And you just trick your mind into having an intimate conversation and then you learn it.
Right.
I don't understand wanting to be removed from the information by a device.
Right.
Or because you don't get it. It's like when we're sitting on the couch together watching TV and I'm not super into a show and I pick up my phone and start playing a game. If something cool happens on the show and you're like, oh, wasn't that awesome? We've got to fully rewind it now because no, I was not engaged. I was not there.
Right.
And that's what those people are doing. And they're short shrifting their lives doing that.
And even if you're taking notes on your device, whatever your device is, man, I don't know. I just think that being focused and engaged, like you said, behaving like this is a one-on-one conversation.
Yes.
Is such a valuable skill to learn and implement. And then if there's a, one-liner that just hits you in the gut, write it down.
Right.
But you will retain more if you're just there in the thing. Be present. Be right here, right now.
Right.
You know? And I can say from being a speaker for a long time, it really helps the person in the front of the room when you're engaged. Yeah. When you in the audience, when you're engaged, those people, man, they save you sometimes when you're presenting, and it feels like nobody in the room really gives a shit. Nobody's dialed. There's always at least one person who's super with you.
Do you look for me in crowds that way because I'm always in it with you?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Not just you. I've got to find other people too, because otherwise it's just a one-on-one conversation with you. But yeah, I'm always looking for those people who've got eye contact, who are with me, who are, and yes, as a speaker, as a presenter, it's my job to be engaging enough that people are with me.
Right.
But it's hard to fight against those bad habits of people who now they're checking Facebook and they're looking at Instagram reels and they're, what are you doing, man? Be right here, right now. Be involved. Invest in yourself, because you just never know when that one thing is going to be said that hits you right where you need it.
Right.
And then you think, man, that maybe could change everything for me.
Well, yeah, but you know what? It's like going to church on Sunday, right? At church, well, listen, at church,
it's not.
If you have a need for information, you can hear a sermon and it is talking just to you. But if you're looking at your phone, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, or, I don't really lean that direction, so that's kind of a missed thing for me. But I would say, if I'm some other situation, yes.
If you're at Tony Robbins and Tony's in the front of the thing talking.
Even a song. I really connect to music. Everybody connects to something different, right? Songs, music and nature are kind of my church.
Okay.
Sure. That's, I can totally relate it to that, right? If I'm looking, I think what you're saying is whatever you're looking for, you're going to find.
That's exactly right. And if you are not looking for the information from someone who's in front of you, coaching you, the money you're spending on coaching is being set on fire.
Yeah, and I guess I don't understand not being hungry. If you're not hungry, go do something else.
That's right.
I was coaching someone recently and said, man, it just sounds like you don't really have any desperation. And she said, no, not really. I got somebody else who pays all the bills. My money's fun money. And I thought, and I didn't think, I said to her, I don't really know if I can do anything with that.
Right.
Because for me, motivated people are the people I want to work with. People who are super motivated to self-examine, who are super motivated to be open to suggestion and leading, and open to digging inside themselves, open to finding the answers, open to really putting in the work, digging hard. It's kind of like we were paddleboarding this morning and we turned to that corner and the wind hit us and I hollered back to you, man, it's time to dig in.
Yeah.
And I was digging as hard as I could with that paddle to fight against the wind. That's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for somebody to coach. I need you to be hungry, man. I need you to be just a little bit desperate. I need you, like, there's no motivation. Like, my kids aren't going to eat if I don't figure out how to do this and do it well.
And it brings me right back to the scene in The Wolf of Wall Street when he was up in front of the group and Leonardo DiCaprio's character is going, can't pay the bills? Great. Pick up the phone.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Thought that was the best sales training I'd ever received, and it was a Hollywood movie.
Do you remember STP? I think it was a brand of oil.
Oh, yes.
So I had a sales trainer one time who told this big story. It was beautifully said. The gist of it, though, that it was titled STP, Oiling Your Business, right?
Okay.
And it was an acronym. She used it as See the People.
Okay. Perfect.
And
See
basically, anytime your business is lagging, this was the point of her whole, 10-minute long story that was beautifully constructed. But it was anytime that your business needs some greasing, you got to grease the wheels and get things moving. See the people. See the people, whether it's phone calls or showing up at, it's getting in front of people is always the answer to slow sales.
Yes.
Always.
Activity breeds activity.
Yeah.
We today went and had brunch, and that could be one of the most profitable brunches we ever went to because we may recruit an agent out of it.
Yeah.
We may sell some houses out of it. I may get a few loans out of it from one trip down to Bud's Broiler, right down the path from our condo, because wherever we go, we talk about who we are and what we do. Mm-hmm. And the people that we talk to are receptive.
Right.
And if they're not receptive, we get right off it and go to the next thing. Mm-hmm.
I think most people are receptive because we're super excited and really passionate about what we do. And we speak about it with such authenticity and such zeal that people are really attracted. In fact, somebody in there who wasn't in the conversation, we were talking to the server, Aaliyah, who's fantastic, by the way, and then somebody else who overheard us came over and started talking to us. Oh, I heard that you coach and la la la, and I just think that there's something about being excited about life and being driven and being focused and. That man, you can't replace that with anything else. You just can't.
Absolutely. And our podcast gets listeners that way too. In fact, when we got to the restaurant, they said to us, "Are you guys still doing the podcast?"
Yeah.
Yes is the answer. Yes, we are on a Sunday in our play clothes.
And I always want to say, you'd know if you were listening.
Well, I guarantee they're going to listen now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And by the way, while we're on that, the real estate review
restaurant review
that nobody asked to hear. I got to tell you, Bud's Broiler is not a place that I really enjoy going for dinner.
No.
But the Sunday brunch is a really beautiful experience.
It's the best thing in town. The Sunday brunch is spectacular.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you why it's not our favorite place to go to dinner. The steaks are okay. The breakfast, though, is spectacular.
Yeah.
The Sunday brunch, I think it's from 9 to 3. 9 to 2.
Highly recommend.
I'm telling you now, you get the Eggs Benedict. I get the country fried steak breakfast.
Yep.
Spectacular.
I did today. I got the Eggs Benedict. The
service is beautiful.
You get the coffee cake.
They bring you the coffee cake right when you sit down. I mean, what a top-notch experience today.
Yeah, you got that. I got that. We got 2 coffees. And
then you threw your coffee at me as we were leaving the restaurant.
$57 and change.
Right.
For the bill before the tip.
Right.
So that's what you're looking at for cost-wise. If you're going to go there, it's about $30 a person with no drinks.
Yeah, we didn't have any liquor drinks this morning.
No. I'm not a big morning liquor drinker.
I don't mind a morning cocktail if I'm doing something fun.
I have a cocktail to unwind and relax in the evening. I just don't really love the morning cocktail. But people do like it, and that's fine. Okay, so Bud's Broiler, for me, the Sunday brunch is a 10 out of 10 every time.
For sure. And the best part about it is we can walk right over.
We did, yeah.
And we get to see people we care about and have a fun experience.
I took my river hair with me.
Yep.
Just...
Okay, so this morning, let me just paint the picture for you.
Okay.
This morning, we woke up in beautiful Tri-Cities, Washington. A little wind was blowing across the river. The flags were flying at the yacht club, and we thought, we're going to get our paddle boards out, and we're going to go for a little paddle. So we set in down there by Lulu's. At Columbia Point.
Marina.
Yep, at the marina. Set in there. And paddled up through the yacht club, out into the Columbia, and back down the Columbia, back into the marina.
Yeah.
And did that, I'm going to say, in 36 minutes. 37 minutes round trip, start to finish.
Felt like
and it
felt
was
a little longer.
And it was perfect. until we came around the corner to get back into the marina, and all of the north winds that have ever blown blew right at us.
It's such a good metaphor for life, though, right? Because that is life. You go along and everything's going swimmingly, and then all of a sudden, wham, you get hit with something. And that's why you condition.
Yeah.
That's why you do the work. That's why if you operate off systems, you know, oh, the wind is hitting me. I know exactly what to do. We've paddleboarded enough. I know exactly what to do when the wind kicks up, right?
Sure.
So it's, kind of relating it all together.
Yeah, I think it's great. And it was very interesting to know that it is now sockeye salmon season. And there were people out there fishing for salmon all
like
up and down
boats.
the river. And, when you're paddleboarding, it's kind of intimate because you're
right
standing and you're next to them.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, where people shouldn't be standing, you're standing right next to their boat and you're paddling by. And it's funny, the conversation.
Not right now. We try to get as far away as we can.
We don't want to get caught up in anybody's fishing equipment.
Yeah, but they're snuggled up close to closer to the shoreline than traditional boaters would be.
Right. And I like to stay close to the shoreline on the Columbia River because then you're not in the current as badly. Mm-hmm. So I like that. So it was so funny. I paddled next to a guy and he's like, I don't understand how you're standing up on that thing. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then you had a running conversation with him as we paddled by.
He said, I'd do what you're doing because I sit up on my knees.
Right.
Later in the season, I'll get a little bit more brave, I guess.
Yeah.
And it usually takes me a few times of going out to kind of get my sea legs and feel comfortable.
Let me tell you something. I'm not the best balancer in the world, so I jump right up there because if I don't start it now, I'm going to be scared the whole time.
Yeah.
So I jump right up. And that's a short enough loop to not fatigue for me at all standing.
Yeah.
If we'd have stayed out for another 10 minutes, I would have had to sit down on my board.
Yeah.
So it was perfect. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you doing that with me. That was a lot of fun.
It was so fun.
It was fun.
That's the beauty of living, in Eastern Washington, right on the Columbia River. It's gorgeous. The weather's been incredible lately. So it's been lovely.
And we inflated our paddle boards and now they just live in our garage. So I have a cart that I can I learned how to use that cart.
Yeah.
Friday. And now it's the easiest thing in the world. You put the paddle boards on there. They're 11 feet long, so they're a little awkward to carry. But I put them on that little tiny 2-wheeled cart and can just push them right along.
Yep.
Like nothing.
It's fantastic.
Easiest thing in the world. All right. Is there anything else specific that you'd like to talk about before we wrap up this program?
The last thing I'd like to say is that I promise you systems will change everything for you and keep things more consistent in your life and in your business. And if you don't know what systems to use, that's where I come in. That's my specialty, is designing systems that are tailor-made for you, your business, your goals, your lifestyle. We take into consideration your family dynamics, your personality, your learning style. A lot of it goes into, this is why I probably will never write another book about coaching, because I personalize it and tailor it so much. Like, how do you put that down on paper? You don't. And so, reach out to me if you're just not sure where to start. I need people to know that, I'm not the most expensive coach. I'm also not the cheapest coach, but my goal is always to work myself out of a job as quickly as possible.
Sure.
And so I like to be really, really efficient with my coaching, get you what you need, get in, get out.
How can people get in touch with you if they want you to help coach them in their career?
Yeah, what you should probably do is just Google my name, Londa Sherwood Austin. I don't try to hide. My contact information's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't get me started talking about people that don't.
Let's not do it. We're on such a happy note.
Yeah, that's right. It drives me nuts, though, when people are hard to find online.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find more about Londa Sherwood Austin at SherwoodAustinHomes.com.
Sure.
That's SherwoodAustinHomes.com. Your next home is only a click away. If you're interested in talking to me about a home loan, you can reach out to me on SherwoodAustinHomes.com or go to DavidAustinLoans.com. That's DavidAustinLoans.com. Both are proud sponsors of the Session with Londa and David. For Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin, my name in the swim shirt is David Austin. We'll see you again next week, and I promise I won't be wearing the same thing. I don't know that I can make that promise.
I don't know that you can. You better be careful. We might be on the paddle boards every day for the rest of the summer.
Boy, that would be nice. I think we should do it at 6 in the morning every day. There you have it. There it is. This has been The Session with Londa and David. See you next week.